Hello everyone and welcome to my session, From Consumption to Creation, How to Utilize a Variety of Book Apps in Your Learning Space. My name is Tricia Lewis and I'm the Technology Integration Professional from the Richland School District in Richland Center, Wisconsin. As you can see from the map on the left-hand side of your screen, Richland Center is located in the southwest corner of the state of Wisconsin, about halfway between La Crosse and Madison, if you know your Wisconsin geography, or in the wider scope, we're about halfway between the Twin Cities and Chicago. The southwest corner of the state of Wisconsin is known as the driftless region. The last icebergs did not make it into our area, so we have all these rolling hills and valleys and coulees, and a very interesting place to be. My hometown here of Richland Center, Wisconsin is also the birthplace of Frank Lloyd Wright, so we have that architecture going on in our area as well. As I said, from the Richland School District, we are a rural school district. We have about 1,250 students in grades PK through 12. That is big to some, but we're still small. The next school up the road has about 400 in K through 12, and the next school up the road from that is about 200 K through 12. So we may seem small to us, but we seem bigger to others. As you can see at the bottom of your screen, you're going to be able to find all the resources for this presentation on my website at tricialewis.com/SPARCC-JUL-23. And don't worry about writing that down now, because it's going to be on every slide at the bottom of the screen so that you'll be able to go to it when you want to. So that website looks like this, and these resources will live on forever on this site, so you can always come back to look at it. It has links to everything that we'll be talking about today, and of course the slide deck if you want to have that as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the session. What are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about these different book apps, and we're going to go from consumption to creation. So in the first category, that consumption, we're going to talk about Novel Effect, Tonies, Vooks, the Osmo Reading Adventure, the Google Readalong. In this kind of transition area, we're going to that Noisy Book app, which is really fun. And then I'm also going to talk about the Book Creator app that's on iPad and online. We'll talk about you making books inside of Canva for education, and how you can even use Google or Apple tools to make books, and then we'll wrap up. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera for the rest of this session. You don't need to see my mug in here, and I'll come back at the end so you can see my face if you need to. All right, first up on our adventure today is Novel Effect. If you haven't heard of Novel Effect, it is an awesomely fun app that allows you to read aloud books, and there's over 1,000 books in the Novel Effect library, and it adds all sorts of sound effects, music, and character voices. Really makes the story come out to life. You don't need special books. You can just use any book that you check out from your library, local library, or your community library, or ones that you own. But the book does need to be on the list for a Novel Effect that has the sound effects to go along with it. And there's also even some ebooks right within the app, so that's kind of fun to use as well. So let me give you a demonstration of Novel Effect. So you can see here I'm going to use Novel Effect on my iPad. Now it is an app for iPad, Android, and now on Chromebook as well, so that you can use it with that. Your Chromebook is Android enabled. You can download the Novel Effect and use it with that. I'm going to go ahead and launch the Novel Effect app, and really there's not a lot to the app when we get into it. And each time that you open up the app, it's going to kind of give you different books that might be focused. Since it's summertime, notice it has cool reads for summer, different holidays that might be going on, also lots of different categories. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the My Stuff down here at the bottom. When I go to use Novel Effect, I always try to make sure that I download the book ahead of time, just in case if something would go down with Wi-Fi. I already have the book ready to go and I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go in my download section, and I'm going to go ahead and read The Ugly Pumpkin to you so you get an idea for this. Now, like once I said, there's not much to the app once we get into it. I'm going to go ahead and start the app to be able to have the sound effects go along by pressing that print button. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up my document camera so that you can see the book as I'm reading along to it. The Ugly Pumpkin by Dave Horowitz. Now you may be wondering why I'm reading a book about the ugly pumpkin in the middle of a summertime. Well, what's interesting about this book is I'm part of the Novel Effect ambassador team, and as one of the cool options of being ambassador, I got to actually play my clarinet and make part of the music that you're going to hear in the background here. So every time you hear a clarinet sound, that is actually me performing. On with the story. I am the ugly pumpkin, as you can plainly see, one of 100,000 pumpkins. None are quite like me. Since early in October, I've been waiting to get picked, but each time things start looking up,
Hello?
I end up getting tricked. A skeleton came for pumpkins one bright and crispy day.
Oh my! Skeleton loves pumpkins!
I asked if I could get a ride. He laughed and said, "No way."
I'm sorry.
And when I said, "It's getting late and I don't have a home," he rolled his eye and said, "Goodbye."
Bye-bye.
And left me all alone.
Bye?
So I walked into November, where I happened upon some trees. I asked if I could stay a while, and this time I said, "Please." The trees started smiling, and then one finally spoke. "Take off your boots and spread your roots." Another cruel joke. I am the ugly pumpkin, I shouted to the sky. And then it started raining, so I began to cry. I took shelter in a garden that was overrun with squash. I noticed something very odd and then thought, "Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I'm a squash!"
Oh my gosh, you're a squash!
At last it was Thanksgiving, and I found where I fit in. Now you know my story, so let the feast begin.
Squash! Squash!
Happy Thanksgiving. So as you can see, that adds a lot of really fun sound effects along to that book. And like I said, they have a huge library of books that you can read along with. And of course, all those resources are available on my website to be able to get through this link that you have here to be able to see all those different books. So I love Novel Effect, really fun way to consume those books in your classroom. The Tonies box. So the Tonies and Tonies box is a really unique way for students to experience the different songs without the need for a device with a screen. So it really works great because it doesn't need a screen, and guess what? It doesn't need Wi-Fi to operate. Not only can you get pre-made content, but you can add your own voice to it. So I also have a video for demonstration, but I wanted to show you it live as well. It doesn't translate very well through the microphone when I do this. That's why I have the video to play also. But this is what a Tonies box looks like. It is a kind of a soft box. Here you can see me squeezing it in. That's a speaker. It's got this really magical area on top, place for headphones. These two ears here are the volume up and down. On the bottom, this is where it charges, so nothing really hard to do when you're having to put the charger on. You just simply set it on the charger, so you don't have to line up some little USB cable or anything. And to get it to work, you use these special Tonies And there's all sorts of different ones that we have available. I picked out 3 out of my collection here. This one's from Go Noodles. It has all sorts of those activities. Of course, our wonderful Pete the Cat and Peppa Pig. So how it does work is I simply place the Tonies box down, and then with a magnet, the Tonie goes on top.
You know what? One of my favoriteest things to practice is opposites. Opposites is like doing one thing and then doing the complete opposite other thing.
So when you take it off, it automatically pauses. When you have the Tonie on there and you want to go to the different tracks, you actually tap the different sides. But to give you a little bit more demonstration of that, I have a video to be able to watch to see what Tonies can do.
Meet the Tonie Box, a screen-free, imagination-building listening experience for kids ages 3 and up. The Tonie Box comes to life the moment you place one of our magical, magnetic, collectible Tonie figurines on top of the box. Each Tonie contains their own songs to sing.
That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life.
Stories to tell.
His eyes are orange. His tongue is black. He has purple prickles all over his back.
And worlds to explore.
At night, Ariel saw strange lights shimmering over the ocean and swam up to investigate.
Want to design your own listening adventure? Creative Tonies allow you to record up to 90 minutes of custom audio fun. Whether you're singing your own silly songs, reading bedtime stories, or telling family stories from afar.
When I was a little girl, my grandparents had an orange tree in their front yard too. I can't wait for the memories I'll get to make with you.
With Creative Tonies, the possibilities are endless. Designed for little listeners, the Tonie Box is a lovable storytime friend that makes it easy for kids to start and stop stories, adjust volume, skip ahead, and rewind all on their own. Parents can rest easy, knowing they are always in control through the Tonie app. But since the Tonie Box contains no screens, ads, or microphones, it's a safe and secure experience you can feel good about. Soft enough to snuggle, tough enough to hold up to rough play, and an ever-growing collection of Tonies to inspire creativity, incite curiosity, and build bonds between children and characters. Tonies. One little box, countless big adventures.
So it's really great how you can use the Tonies not only with the pre-made content, but with all that content that you can add on your own. And guess what you can actually even do? You can actually read a novel effect book and record it on the Creative Tonie yourself. And then you have that content anytime without even having to have the app along. Such a super way for kids to consume stories without even having a screen in front of them. But if you want a screen, you can use something like Vooks. I love Vooks because it is an entire library of storybooks that are brought to life with beautiful animation, read-aloud narration, and engaging music and sound and read-along text. Teachers always get a free account for their classroom use. So let's take a look what Vooks is all about. Vooks is awesome because there's not a lot to it. I'm already signed into my account here, and this is the home page. Our navigation is a search and our favorites, and that's it. Not a very steep learning curve here at all. You can just sign in and be able to use it. You can see the ones that you've already read, and then again, just kind of like the novel effect, you get to have the new books, what the seasons are, and maybe what they're focusing on. All sorts of different stories. Well, let's take a look at Llama Llama Loves to Read, just to get a little idea of what it's all about. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And then it also gives me some suggestions. It gives some details of what it is, the length, the ages that it's maybe appropriate for. And now I can go ahead and press that watch button.
Llama Llama Loves to Read by Anna Dudney and Reed Duncan. Illustrated by J.T. Morrow. Llama Llama learns at school. Counting, writing, reading, rules. Friends and school, there's nothing better. Llama learning all the letters.
So as you can see, it started right away, no ad or anything like that. It started right in the story. You could put it to full screen if you wanted to, and then it has that read-along text by highlighting the words as it's being read. So it gives that different way of learning, that visual and audio way of learning. Like I said, teachers always get a free account for them to use, but there are also subscription accounts if you want each student to have access to Vooks on their own devices. But this is a great way to have story time in your class without having to worry about all like ads on anywhere else. The cool thing about Vooks is available in a lot of places. Now, you can find Vooks on Vooks, or guess what? Vooks is part of Tonies now, so you can download the audio onto your Creative Tony. Vooks are also available through Kidlit TV, Go Noodle Jr., and even on Netflix. So you'll be able to find that content in a lot of different places. The next on our list that we're going to talk about is the Osmo Reading Adventure. This is kind of the newest in the Osmo family apps. This is less than a year old. It uses speech recognition and to create a specialized reading experience for each child. So you can use this app that gives a level finder for your child before you start and then be able to get this. Now this works with your Osmo kits that you have, and then the books are a part of a subscription. So let's look at a demonstration of this. I kind of pre-recorded something so you can see what it's all about. So you can see that your iPad sits in the Osmo stand with the mirror, and it shows the book, and of course you get this awesome crystal wand to do part of activities. There's all sorts of ways you can customize the learning, and this is what it looks like when you're doing the reading adventure. So this is me reading to the app. I am a fisher. I fish. I sit. I sleep. I wake. I pull. I fall. I swim. You. I swim.
I think we're becoming friends with the dream.
I run. I am a fisher. The end.
The end. Ooh. Oliver, I think the dream is ready. Hey, little dream. Whew, you gave us quite a chase.
So that gives you an idea of what the adventure is all about. So there's these reading activities, there's other activities that are part of the back of the book that you use the wand to point out things. And then it uses that mirror so it knows where the book is at and it knows where you're reading at. So really a kind of a unique way to kind of even double up on that Osmo that you might have already in your classroom and be able to add something new to it as well. Google Readalong is a free tool that's created by Google to help students practice fluency. It's available for mobile devices and the web. And the reason why I state this next line, it says it's a great resource for at-home reading practice because just want you to make sure that you know that Google Readalong is not part of the regular core Google package. So if you decide to bring this into your school, notice that you do have to turn it on and that admins must get special parental consent to use Readalong because it's not part of the core apps. Way back in the day, like Maps wasn't part of the core apps. Can you believe Google Maps wasn't? But now it's part of the suite, like docs and sheets and slides and everything like that. But just wanted you to know that. But it is kind of cool. So if you want to give it a try and your organization doesn't allow it, you can use your personal Google account, and this is what it's like. So I've already signed into the app here, and I'm going to go ahead and just start reading. Keep safe, stay alive.
Let's read. Keep safe, stay alive.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep safe, stay alive.
Well done, you got that.
Lesson 1. You must take care. Cars are zooming everywhere. Always look and never run. Don't forget while having fun.
That was good. Okay, mic turned off. I won't be listening to you till you turn it back on.
So I just wanted to do that so I could pause and share with you the different parts of this. Notice that it's recognizing as I'm reading. If I should read something wrong, it's going to wait for me to say it correctly. And it gives those stars as we keep going that you can build up, and it kind of keeps track of your fluency for you. Keeps track how many minutes you use per day, all that kind of stuff. So really a unique app, but like I said, not as a core app for schools, but it certainly could be turned on in schools. You just have to work with your administration and your Google administrator to make that happen. So that's called the Google Readalong. Now we're going to kind of cross over into this from consumption to creation, and we're going to talk about the Noisy Book app. And the Noisy Book app is kind of like Novel Effect Lite. And why I say that is that you can actually pick up any book or write your own story, and there's over 650 keywords in the app that brings your story to life with different sound effects. And the app is free, and it used to have this 99-cent in-app purchase to unlock unlimited stories, and I have a demonstration that you're going to be able to see of this. And I contacted the app developers, and I was like, you know, when we're doing school purchases, we can't really do in-app purchases. We need to have the full price of the app, and then we can buy licenses, whatever. And in a few days, they wrote back, they decided to make the full app free for everyone. So sometimes it pays just to reach out. You never know what you might get. So here's a demonstration in Noisy Book. I went ahead and did this ahead of time because sometimes the sounds didn't want to come through when I was doing this on a recording. So go ahead and enjoy the Noisy Book demonstration. I went ahead and wrote a story. You're going to notice that I highlighted the words that I knew that there would be in the list. Like I said, over 650 words. So you might want to give your students a few keywords that they throw in just to make sure they're getting some of the sound effects. I did it in a Google Doc. Students could handwrite it, or you could just start to speak aloud and see how creative the story you can be. So here is what Noisy Book is all about. Once upon a time, an alligator and a monkey were riding in an ambulance. Then, all of a sudden, a frog jumped on the windshield and started shouting, "Take me to the nearest river. I need to meet up with my friends, the seagull, the rabbit, and the wolf." And the wolf. The end.
Well done. That was brilliant.
So you get these unlimited stories that you can always bring back, and you can even print the PDF or send out the PDF from the app if you want to. Kind of a fun little app to be able to add to your library, something unique, something creative, something the students would really love to be able to go. And like I said, kind of bridges that gap from consumption, if you just read a regular book, to creation because you're writing your own story and getting those sound effects put in. Talking about creation, let's talk about the Book Creator app for iPad. It's been a standalone app and it can be used offline, which I really like about it. And it's been around since 2011. It is a $3 app for your per license. No sign-in necessary. You can do the subscription. We're going to talk about that in a moment with the online version. But students could use and share books with AirDrop and Apple Classroom. That's why I kind of like it. You don't have to have to sign in. You just kind of can jump into it and get going with it. What does the Book Creator app look like on iPad? Well, I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And I have all of my books here. Some ones that I don't have a cover for, ones that I've created already. I've always said that if you can use Seesaw, you can use Book Creator and vice versa. They're all about the same level. Few more options inside of Book Creator, but really very attainable even by the youngest of users. So you can see on this book that I have cover picture. I got a cool colored box with some text. I have a link down the lower left-hand corner of this page with some images. This is the comic book with these different ways that you can put the pictures together. I will tell you about that in a moment. And then it also has a maps function, so I put in an address, and so that is our high school building, layered on another image on top of that maps image, and of course has all sorts of fun pens, and you can use text with emojis and all of that kind of stuff. When you're starting a new book, like I said, this is where the difference comes in. I almost always start with comic, even though it's not a comic book, because I get all the way to you put those photos together in all of those different combinations. If you just choose the top row, you don't get that. If you choose the bottom row, you get everything what the top row has, plus all the extra comic stuff. So I almost always choose that when I'm starting a book. Now, when you are using Book Creator, the cool thing about Book Creator is that when you're on the online version, it looks just about the same as the iPad version. The online version was launched in 2017, so 6 years later than the iPad version. Teachers, you can get one library with 40 books for free, and you can access your books from any browser. You can also purchase licenses for your students to use as a per student per year. But let's take a peek at this. The cool thing about this is if students are transitioning from the iPad app into the online app, guess what? It looks exactly the same. I've signed into my account here. I've already got a book started here. I've got the cover, and of course I started in that comic book format because it has all these different things in here, like these backgrounds, the way that you can make the font, pictures, text. You can put in links, you could put in videos, students could put in their own audio, not only music, but they could read their book aloud as well. And once you get to want to put more stuff in, you just go to that plus. So many things you can put in, and so much different kind of stuff to be able to create the book with. So a good way to be able to go from that consumption to creation when you are using Book Creator. Really, really interesting app. Like I said, teachers always get one library with 40 books for free, and then it's per student per year for the subscription price. So if we're talking about creation and you want to use something else, you can use Canva. Now, if you're like me, you've maybe kind of tumbled down that Canva rabbit hole. There's so much that you can do in Canva. Well, if you can create anything in Canva, why couldn't you create a book inside of Canva? So let me show you a book that I created. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this link, and I've shared this out, and it's got this book. Now, I'm going to be able to read this book aloud to you, but you could actually add the audio and recording if you wanted to, but this is just another fun way to do it. It's kind of like a hyper slideshow because I automatically timed each page to be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, depending on the text on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This was a book that I wrote during the COVID lockdown, kind of a riff off of Goodnight Moon called Goodnight Zoom. So let's see what a book in Canva is all about. I kept it pretty basic so that I could show you that really any student could do it without a whole lot of fanfare. There's so many options inside of Canva, so you kind of have to be careful with that. Students might suffer from, oh, I can't make a choice. But there is, like I said, with the lots of options, lots of things that you can do to be creative. So this is Goodnight Zoom. Goodnight Zoom is inspired by Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. In the tiny living room, there was a laptop and a meeting full of kids on a Zoom. And a picture of a lake with a beautiful loon. And there were 3 coffee mugs and people missing grandma's hugs and 2 little kids and a pile of homework that just needs to be did. And a little toy car and a pair of peanut butter jars and a couch and a pillow and a dish of delicious chicken noodle soup and a frazzled teacher mom who was just trying to stay in the loop. Good night room, good night laptop, good night meeting full of kids on a Zoom. Good night picture of a lake with a beautiful loon. Good night coffee mugs, good night people missing grandma's hugs, good night kids, good night pile of homework that just has to be did. Good night toy car, good night peanut butter jars. Good night couch, good night pillow, good night dish of delicious chicken noodle soup. Good night to that frazzled teacher mom who is just trying to stay in the loop. Good night, earth. Good night, sky. Good night to all until the sun rises high. The end. So like I said, those audio recordings could have been made inside of Canva, or you could just read aloud just like I did, and the pages automatically advanced on their own. A really unique way to be able to create books. Bottomless creation, not only with the way that the book can look because of text and images, but you could put animated GIFs in there or videos in the backgrounds and add music. I mean, so much inside of Canva. And of course, you know that there's that free educator account that allows you to create free accounts for your students to use as well. What else can you do to create books? Well, of course, you can use Google Slides, Apple's Pages, or even our old friend Word from Microsoft. You can make it an ebook on any of those platforms using lots of different elements, and you can even choose to publish the book to the world via a platform like Apple Books. Now, one of the ways that we took Google Slides and made it into a book is we did a book that was kind of a hybrid. Let me show you. Axel Is, a collaborative book project by Miss Schrader's 5th grade ELA class. So what this was is Google Slides, and then we kind of amped it up a little bit and we used Moat. So you're going to be able to hear audio of each child reading each page, and I'll just do a few pages to demonstrate. And then I have a QR code of that Moat because we actually printed this book. And then we took 3 doodler pens and made the braille on each page of a specific word. Because, you know, if you're doing 3 doodler pen, there's no way you could do all of that. But this, each student had to create their own page in the collaborative slide deck. And then we printed it out and we used the 3 doodler pens to create the braille. So I can show you here that we had each student doing it, and then we also had teachers, aides, myself, and the principal even did anything on there. So I'm going to start with a few of the students, let you hear a few of the pages here, and see what you think about using Google Slides as a way to make a book.
Axel is intelligent and a very funny and cool person to hang out with.
Axel is brilliant, nice, friendly, and powerful.
Axel is strong, excellent, and kind.
Axel is inquisitive. He has a hunger for knowledge and shares what he learns with everyone. So each word that's in bold is the one that is going to be the Braille word here. So each student had to pick one word that they were going to make with the Braille with the 3 doodler pens.
Axel has perseverance. He continues to move forward in spite of challenges. I am very proud of his hard work and dedication.
Axel is gregarious. He enjoys talking with everyone around him and is always friendly.
Axel is resilient. He lights up my life with a smile each day and makes everyone's life better, making a difference each day because he never, 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 never gives up. Love, Miss Schrader.
Axel is me, and I am unstoppable.
The end. So the adding of the moat in there on the Google Slides, when you do this in this presentation mode like this, they automatically play on each slide. So that's a good way to share the ebook as well as the printed book. If you're curious, this is kind of a little bit of a process of doing the 3 doodler on the pages. So this is me doing a copy of the book here that I did the 3 doodler on. This is sped up for about 45 seconds. This really took about 10 minutes to create the Braille dots on this page here. So really a unique project. It was just started out as a plain old Google Slides document, and this is how we really turned it up. So something you already have. You don't need a special subscription. You don't need anything special. Just plain old Google Slides. Probably the majority of you out there have access to this, and your students have access to this as well. So I highly encourage you to take a look at Google Slides or those apps that you already have. But you know, if you're using Google Slides, what if you could also use Google Slides to make a paper book? Well, let me show you what that's all about. So if you click on this link, you're going to get a way to be able to make your own paper booklet. And this is what I did. So using one sheet of paper. So each student can get this slide deck. You can make a copy for each of them. And it shows what the folding instructions are going to be. This is a layout of what the pages have to be so that they know which ones are right side up, which are upside down. And then the students can go ahead and put the text and the images on each page. When you get done, you have one piece of paper that has been printed into a little booklet. And by following those folding instructions, you get that in there. Now, yes, you may be looking at this and you're thinking, what? Sock monkey? Must have been some sort of photo trick. I have to tell you, that's a real sock monkey I carried to all those locations and actually took his picture in with all the places that I was at. So really fun way to make a book and even use only one piece of paper, and so you don't have to worry about so many printing. You can maybe make 2 copies, one for them to take home, one for you to store in your classroom, but a fun way to make a book. And again, Google Slides, something that you probably already have access to inside of your classroom. With that, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me with this session. As I said, all of the resources are going to stay alive forever on the website, trishalewis.com. That looks like this. If you forget the rest of the URL, if you get to trishalewis.com, you get to conference resources and by the year, and then you can go right to the different conferences there. And it has all of the links that I talked about as well as the slide deck in here. I encourage you to contact me through my website if you want to, or you can follow me on my socials, T.A. Lewis on Twitter, T.A. Lewis Tech on Facebook and Instagram, or you can find my YouTube channel at Trisha Lewis. I recently, about 6 months in, doing a podcast called The 1-5. You can find it on a multitude of different services. Links are available right here in this slide deck, which they are available on the website. And The 1-5 is one tech tip that's explained in less than 5 minutes. And it's a weekly podcast. Comes out at 1:05 Central Time every Thursday. So thanks again for being part of this session. I'm glad that you could join me on for the SPARCC conference. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out to me. I'm here to help. Have a good one and enjoy what you do, because you all make a difference in students' lives.